from what I read, the first 20 years, you get 1 week of salary for each year. And from your 21st year onwards,
As you can see as well, others that have also layoffs, other layoffs, Booking.com, Groupon, Uber, Better.com. So it doesn't stop there with the ones we mentioned. RJ, you have some 2 cents for this? You
yeah,
have something you want to share?
yeah. I mean, I based on the layoffs and the topics, I went to look at the so what are the rules
Mm.
for dismissals. And as you know, I'm a lawyer, but I'm not a US lawyer. No, so I don't, these are not things that I have, information that I have um, based off experience, but purely off of research.
Mm-hmm.
You see that there's a difference between common law countries.
Mm-hmm.
The United States is one form, and European they're not, well, European countries, but you call them civil law countries. Um, Oftentimes, you see that in the U.S.
Before you continue,
Yeah.
for the viewers, what might be the difference between the two?
So, common law countries, in common law countries, court decisions are essential
Mm.
for the. So you do have written laws, codified laws, you say, so written laws written down, but you go look at uh, court decisions. Court
Mm.
decisions play a bigger role.
Mm. Okay.
Uh, in civil law, it's more what the law says. So you do have the, let's say, court decisions that play a role because sometimes they give an interpretation on a certain matter. But what you would see is then that shortly after the the that rule or that nuance would be added in the civil law. So that's basically the main difference.
Okay.
Right? That's why the judges in the US, you have the Supreme Court. It's very important. They always announce who the judge is, the new
Mm-hmm.
judges in the Supreme Court. You do have Supreme equivalent to Supreme Courts in various countries, almost all countries, but they don't get that attention.
There's not much weight there at the
Uh,
top.
there's a lot of weight, but the importance their decision plays in the legal system,
Mm.
I would say, is less, or is at least seen as less significant than in common law system. That's why
Mm.
with the whole Roe versus Wade, you see it changes everything.
Yeah.
So and you don't. It's not that common that you see that a judge in a common law system can influence certain laws that much.
Mm.
Yeah. So, and there are also nuances, but basically, from what I discovered, is that you have in the U.S. the so-called WARN Act, and WARN is an acronym, uh, Worker Adjustment and Retraining Notification Act, and that act is basically, it's a law that is applicable in situations where there are mass dismissals, right? But it doesn't apply. So it doesn't apply to, let's say, if you want to dismiss one person or 10 people, but it only applies in situations like these when we're talking about high numbers. And basically, it comes down to, let's say, the law strives to protect the employees. So
Mm.
each one of these companies would probably have to, um, I think all of them or almost all of them fall under the WARN Act. So they would all need to give the employees at least 60 days a 60-day period. So it's a notification period. They can't just come and fire them automatically. Sometimes what you see is that the employees get sent home immediately, but they would receive their pay in the 2 months. So they would not need to work at the company, probably due to fear that they would use you don't want the employees to use the last 2 months to really sabotage things.
Yo, by the way, I know some crazy stories, dude,
Yeah,
about well, both sides of the coin,
both on the
preventing people from sabotaging, but also people who sabotaged
yeah.
after they left. They forgot to turn off the account.
Oh, so okay, yeah. So that's why oftentimes, depending on how it goes, but especially it depends on the responsibilities and all those things. But there's a protocol. These companies have a protocol for dismissals as well as mass dismissals. But so the WARN Act is only applicable for big companies. You need to have at least 100 employees or more. So all the companies we discussed today have more than that amount. And um,
On
yeah, you
Twitter,
need.
I'm not sure. No, I'm okay.
What did you say?
No, I said Twitter. I'm not sure anymore. But I'm just
Twitter,
kidding. I'm just kidding.
Twitter been firing. Oh, but you also have like the severance. So the employees have the right to severance pay, and the severance pay basically is for the first 20 years. From what I read, the first 20 years, you get 1 week of salary for each year, and from 21 from your 21st year onwards, you get 2 weeks salary um, per work year. So if you work, for example, 25 years, you would get for the first 20 years 20 times 1 week salary, and for the last 5 years, you would get 5 times 2 weeks salary.